Welcome to this session of mindfulness, awareness, and compassion practice. What we'll be doing is going through a series of practices, short ones. First, settling and centering, getting grounded. Then awareness of our breath and the space that our body's sitting in. Then shifting our attention, decentralizing and opening up more to the environment. And we're going to also do a little bit of work with thoughts and emotions. And then at the end, a contemplation, which is working with our feelings of kindness and compassion for others and ourselves, working with the suffering that we and everyone in the world is going through, and replacing that in a certain way with kindness and understanding. So the session, if you want to practice on your own, if you see this on the YouTube channel, you can just play the instruction and then hit pause and follow that for as long as you'd like and then start again. So that's how we're setting up. Now, what we're going to do with thoughts and emotions, one of the qualities that we're going to explore is the power and nature of our thoughts and emotions. Remember, I was giving working with a professional golfer, a great champion, and I asked her, how heavy are your thoughts? She said, oh, they've been really heavy. Like, am I really good enough? I said, let's take that thought, am I really good enough? And I want you to put your hand out. I don't know, imagine that thought sitting in your hand. How much does it weigh? She said, oh, it's really, really heavy. I said, no, actually, how much does that thought actually weigh? She said, well, it doesn't weigh anything. It's just a thought. I went, aha. She went, oh. So when we are aware of our thoughts, if we turn our attention to them and look as a thought arises, it seems to come out of nowhere. Where does it dwell? Well, we usually think of it, oh, it's in my head. But actually, where is it happening? And then when it ends, where does it go? Now, usually we tie thoughts together one after another so seamlessly that it's as if it's one continuous thought. But it actually isn't. One stops before the next one begins. And as we're practicing, you'll see it can happen and take us someplace else, so that all of our perceptions shift into what's basically a daydream. We're sitting and we're meditating and we're going, oh, I'm breathing, I'm relaxing. Oh, this feels very relaxing. And then the thought comes up, that reminds me of this yoga class I took. You see, that thought ended right there. And the next one is, I really like that instructor. End of thought. I wonder, I wonder what happened to her. End of thought. I think she moved to New York. End of thought. I really like being in New York. I really like I remember the last time I went to New York. End of thought. We went and saw this play. End of thought. Oh, it was great with the people singing and dancing. And in a sequence of 5 or 6 thoughts, you're in New York watching people singing and dancing in your mind. But you see, they happen so fast, it's as if it's one continuous thought that takes us zoom into the daydream. And then you say, where is that daydream happening? Well, it's not actually happening in New York, because as soon as you pop out of it, it's gone. So it has no substance to it, but it catches us up in it. And we had a feeling, or remembered the feeling that we had, the enjoyment that we had. So now that leads us to emotions, which are powerfully charged thoughts. So you can say, well, where is the emotion happening? Now that you can say, okay, I'm feeling it in my body. My chest tightens up, my hands get cold, my limbs get numb, my jaw clenches, all these different things. That's a response to our body to a thought that provokes a particular feeling that we've learned to associate with that kind of thought that might be fear or danger. And we act as if that's actually happening. In the same way that when we're dreaming, we might wake up and from a scary dream in a sweat. Well, why did we sweat? Because we thought that was actually happening. So when we take a look and we say, okay, where is that? Is that happening here and now? And the thought that's provoking these physical reactions, where does it come from? Where can I find it? How long did it last? Did I just keep repeating the same thought over and over and over? How much does it weigh if I put it in my hand? So that's what we're going to do. I wanted to give that instruction ahead of time, so I'm not talking so much while we're doing that. So to begin with, we're going to get ourselves settled. Now, we can do that with our eyes closed if you'd like, but after that, we're going to open our eyes, because the idea of this practice is to carry it on through our everyday life, and we don't walk around with our eyes closed. And to be tuned into the environment, we have our eyes open. So you want to set up your seat or your device so that you're not looking directly into a screen. And get comfortable. If you're sitting on a cushion, your legs are probably crossed. On a cushion on the floor, your legs are probably crossed. If you're in a chair or on the cushion, first sit down. Sometimes it's as if we're perching. So let your weight sink into the seat that you're in. Feel your sit bones pressing. You can move from side to side. Feel even centered, so that you're sitting and your back is upright. If you have to lean back against something, scoot your butt back so that you're as straight up and down as you can be, rather than slouching. Ideally, you want to just be sitting up on your own. And if you can do that, then sitting up so that you're not tilted forward or back, side to side. You can move a little bit that way till you find that center. If you're in the chair, your feet can be flat on the floor. It's good to have your feet about hip width apart, shins vertical, knees also about hip width apart. But if your knees are higher than your hips, because you have long legs or a low chair, just slide your feet across each other, cross at the ankles, and let your knees widen out. So that your knees are at or below hip level. Takes a little strain off your upper legs and lower back. You let your arms just hang down, your upper arms hanging straight down from your shoulders, and bend at the elbow and lay your forearms along your thighs, palmed down. So your palms will be just behind your knees. Your hands will be just behind your knees. As I said, your torso upright, but we don't want to be too rigid. We'll work with that next. The one bit of tension I'd like you to explore introducing is to open your chest by feeling like your breastbone raises up just the tiniest bit, 1/4 of an inch, up and forward. You see, when that happens, Your chest opens up, your shoulders naturally come back a little bit behind. Much better aligned with your spine. When you do that, you might find that your head tends to tilt backward. So feel like the back of your neck and the back of your head are straight up extensions of your spine. And that brings your chin in a little bit. And traditionally it said when your chin tucks in a little bit, the subtle pathways that produce thoughts are, you could say, thinned or narrowed, so that the thoughts don't flood as much. That's a traditional aspect of this posture. Let your jaw relax, but not with your mouth just hanging open. Your lips are either slightly parted, lightly touching, whichever is more comfortable. We want to basically breathe in through our nose, and then out through our nose, and it's okay if some of the air comes out through our mouth. And in some cases, we're going to just breathe out through our mouth. Your tongue can rest naturally the way it is, or if you'd like, if it's comfortable, let it float up so that the tip of your tongue rests gently behind your front teeth on your upper palate. It said that this lessens the flow of saliva. But if you have to swallow or cough, clear your throat, it's okay. We're not rigid and saying, it's a penalty if you move at all. We want to be as stable and steady as we can be. But if you need to move, just do so mindfully. In other words, know that you're moving, set that intention know that you have the intention to move in a mindful way, not too fast, not too slow. Scratch whatever itch needs to be scratched, or move whatever needs to be moved, and then return to your posture. Further grounding, settling, and centering. We can use our breath and at the same time scan and melt away, let our awareness melt away any unnecessary tension. When we breathe in, we're gathering energy. When we breathe out, the out-breath is a settling, a letting go quality. So turn your awareness to your scalp, forehead, your face, all around your head. Breathe out and let whatever tension you're holding there flow down and out of you. It's as if your tension flows down and out and is absorbed by the earth. Maintaining your upright posture of your neck. Any extra tension that you don't need to hold your posture for your neck and your shoulders. Breathe out. Let the shoulders just hang down. Let the tension melt and flow down and out of you. Upper arms, chest and upper back. A little tension holding your breastbone up. Everything else, let it melt around it. Relax and melt, soften. Rib cage all around, solar plexus. Let the tension breathe out, let the tension melt. Lower back and deep belly. Breathe out, let the tension melt. And sometimes we have clenching in our deep belly and pelvic region, and we're not aware of it. Again, breathe out without losing your posture, let it melt. Slow down and out of you. Hips and buttocks, whole pelvic region. Let the tension melt. Thighs, forearms, and hands. Breathe out, let the tension melt. Knees, calves, ankles, and feet. Breathe out, let the tension melt. Now we've fully inhabited our body, aware of everything about our body. Wherever the tension might be, we've let it melt. Let your awareness rest deep in your core, a couple of inches below your navel, just in front of your spine. Feel the three-dimensionality of your body. Besides side to side like we see in a mirror, there's a front and back dimension, a depth. You can feel as you breathe in, the diaphragm's pushing down, but it feels like your deep core is expanding in all directions, widening as if it's filling with your breath. And as you breathe out and the diaphragm goes up, it contracts, expanding, contracting, filling, emptying. And let the breath just come and go as it will. Be an observer rather than a controller. Your body is upright, but connected with the earth like a mountain. Relax with the rhythm of your breath. It's like a quiet day at the shore, at the beach. The water gently running up the sand and back down into the ocean or lake. A regular rhythm that happens on its own. Nothing's pushing or pulling the water. You don't have to push or pull your breath. Let your body breathe itself. And let your mind be relaxed, open to whatever appears, sensations, thoughts, perceptions. Let them come and go like birds flying across the sky. Body like a mountain, breath like the tide, mind like the sky. Do that for a couple of minutes. Resting your awareness on that feeling of expanding and contracting, filling and emptying deep in your core. If your mind has gotten caught up in thoughts into a daydream, when you realize it, just smile. And with the next full breath, breathe out. Just let all the tension melt again in one out breath. And return your awareness to your core. As the gong fades, let your eyes gently open about halfway. Keep your awareness deep in your core. But now include your posture and the space that you're sitting in, and the feeling of the breath coming in and filling, emptying and going out. For your gaze, soften it so that you're not focused tightly on something. Just take in the space that your body's sitting in. If your mind wanders off into a series of thoughts, into a daydream, when you realize that you're already back, just reconnect with your posture. Breathe out and let the tension melt. And return your awareness to the feeling of filling and emptying, breath coming in and out. We'll do that for a couple of minutes. If you've gotten drowsy and your eyes started to close, reinvigorate your posture and let your eyes be naturally open. Still resting your awareness primarily on that feeling of filling and emptying. Notice it's starting to fill, filling and full, and the transition starting to empty, emptying and empty. As the gong, as the gong fades, move a little bit. In the tradition I was taught, you do many short sessions, which doesn't mean you stop and get up and move around. You just take a break within your session and start fresh. You can start fresh anytime. So, now we connect with the environment. Take your posture again. Upright, back of your neck and back of your head, an extension of your spine, so the chin tucks in a tiny bit. And let your eyes be naturally open, so you're looking out at some angle a bit below the horizon, where they naturally rest. And soften your gaze, open your peripheral vision, side to side, top to bottom, as if you're surveying a distant landscape, just taking it all in without moving your eyes. Within that space are colors, shapes, and shades of light and dark. Sounds, near and far. Bodily sensations. Smells in the room. Maybe even tastes from whatever you ate or drank last. And thoughts arising and disappearing in what we talked about as the mind as big as the sky. And instead of focusing so much on this and the breath filling your body, put your attention out into the environment. With each breath, the breath mixes with the space in the room. It stops being you and your breath. It becomes part of the atmosphere. Imagine that your mind is riding out with the breath, mixing with the space of the environment. So instead of mind being here in the body, mind opens out. Breathe out, open, and rest in that spaciousness. We'll do that for a couple of minutes. Notice that within that spaciousness, the mind might move in the direction of a particular perception, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, bodily sensations, and thoughts. Just notice within that spaciousness. It's the continuous flow of appearances in your mind. Like changing images on a screen. What you're seeing are appearances arising in your mind. The actual object isn't in your head. Light from whatever you're seeing out there. The light is coming into your eyes and creating an appearance in your mind. As with sounds and bodily sensations, smells and tastes. And thoughts. So we'll do a little bit of the work with thoughts that I talked about earlier. Whatever thought comes to mind next, just watch for a thought. Notice how it appears as if out of nowhere. Lasts a moment and then disappears. Just watch as thoughts appear against the backdrop of your sky-like mind. They come and go, and you don't actually have to do anything with them, about them, in response to them. Now bring up a thought, a memory that has some emotion to it. Not too big a deal, just some delight, irritation, frustration. Notice how that thought triggers feelings in your body, sensations in your body. Put your hand out and put the thought, imagine the thought resting in your hand. Not the sensations of your body, just the thought. How much does it weigh? How big is it? And notice it fade away. There's a residual feeling of the sensations in the body, but that's just echoes, physiological echoes. If you don't re-engage that thought, the echoes fade away as well. Now return just to being with the out-breath, opening into spaciousness. Letting whatever perceptions or thoughts come and go in sky-like space of your mind. As the gong fades, maintain that feeling of openness, sky-like mind, and now we'll do a contemplation of kindness and compassion. Under that sky, the sky surrounding this whole planet, all beings are under the same sky. Different places, but the same sky. All on the same planet, different places, but all on this earth, on the land or water. All the same atmosphere between earth and sky. And we all share the wish for peace, health, and happiness. We all share the wish to be free from danger, fear, pain, and suffering in body and mind. So we have a connection with all the beings on this planet in that way. And kindness is the wish for that peace, health, and happiness. Compassion is the wish to free oneself and others from the fear and suffering in body and mind. So first, imagine that as you breathe in, you're drawing out from yourself and others, like poison from a snake bite, all the causes of suffering in the world. The most fundamental, which is ignorance, and out of that growing hatred, greed, intolerance, jealousy, lust for power, pride, the insecurity behind the pride, the fear behind the hatred. With each in-breath, imagine that you're freeing all beings from those poisonous emotions, poisonous views, yourself as well. Breathe in, free. Breathe in, freeing them all. It's as if you could hold them all in your heart, of infinite heart of compassion that wishes for all beings, yourself included, to be free of all these poisonous emotions and the sufferings that come from them. And as you breathe out, send out kindness. Imagine that as you breathe out, you're filling yourself and all these beings, replacing those poisons with understanding, wisdom, the opposite of ignorance, love, the opposite of hatred, caring, kindness, the wish for them to have comfort, health, and happiness in body and mind. That they're filled with tolerance, filled with generosity, filled with kindness and compassion themselves, just as you are. When the poisons are removed, the thoughts, speech, and action that are driven by them cease. When the positive qualities of love and compassion, kindness in those others, generosity and tolerance, when they fill our beings, the thoughts, speech, and actions from them that are positive, caring, naturally grow. And as the gong fades, go back to letting go of the imagination, reconnect with your posture, bring your awareness back into your core, eyes half open, just present with your body, your breath, and the space you're sitting in. And now we conclude the session with a dedication and aspiration. Because of our connection with all the beings on this planet, as we talked about, our practice is so much more effective, so much more powerful if we dedicate it for the benefit of others. The purpose of being more authentically present is so we can be more genuinely responsive to others. So we say, may the practice I've just done, and you can repeat after me or put in your own words, may the practice I've just done be of benefit to others as well as myself. And if you want to cultivate generosity, you can say, may the practice I've just done be of even more benefit to others than to myself. And then we make the aspiration not just to do this in a meditation session, but to carry this through our lives. So we make the aspiration throughout the day and night, from here on. May I do my best to be mindful and kind and compassionate to myself and to others. So thank you so much for your kind attention and your practice of this session of mindfulness, awareness, and compassion meditations.